Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. It's a very important Friday because this Friday is the beginning of the Good Guys Nationals here in Columbus, Ohio, which is pretty much the largest car show you're ever going to go to. And the best part about it is it makes the entirety of Columbus covered in cars, covered in hot rods, every hotel, every restaurant, every cruising location, full of cool stuff from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now even in the 90s. Crazy to think that you have historical vehicles from the 90s, but whatever. Anyway, behind me you see my 1971 Pontiac Le Mans Sport. Ain't she a beaut? But it is, you know, time to do some checks, do some maintenance, do some things. Make sure it's ready to go, do some cruising this weekend. I've also got to pull the 1970 Pontiac Le Mans, the yellow one in, get the fuel pump swapped out on it. I also got to pull in the 1979 AMX, get that thing pulled in here, do a couple of maintenance items on it, and then get it ready to go so we can take all three cars this weekend to Good Guys. So, yeah, a little bit of maintenance and then some Good Guys cruising time. Stay tuned. This should be a good weekend. For those who are not familiar with this car, quick little background. As I said, 1971 Pontiac Le Mans Sport. Actually kind of a rare car. Most of Le Mans Sports are now GTOs or have been badged as GTOs. It's nothing crazy fast. It's nothing all that interesting. It's a Pontiac 350 with a Pontiac Turbo 350 behind it. Pretty original car. Essentially all original interior. The body has been repainted about 8 or 9 years ago. Not by any means a show car, but still a really good quality cruiser. Green on green on green originally. We did replace the vinyl top with a black vinyl top, so it looks considerably nicer, at least in my world. Only somebody from 1971 would think green on green on green is a great color combination, but hey, whatever. What I actually have to do today is I'm checking to make sure my tire pressure is good, and there's actually a leak from the side of the car. Parked it on a hill, and notice that I have a lot of moisture coming from here. And there's a bunch of junk inside there. So we're going to make a mess and blow that all over the place so that I don't end up rotting out that entire corner of my car. Yeah, that's what you do. And then we're going to pull this thing off and get the Pontiac, the 70 Pontiac on here and get that done. So give me a moment. I'm going to use this handy dandy little air gun. See if I can blow stuff in through this thing. Well, that made a mess. We don't do body work here. We don't do paint work. This was a project that was done a number of years ago by a person who painted a car for us up in Apple Creek, Ohio. And unfortunately, not everything was done quite up to what we would hope. This car also does spend a good deal amount of time outside. I do drive this car a lot, and it does spend a lot of time outside, but you can see actually here on the rocker where it's starting to rust on that seam. It's holding moisture in this corner, and you can feel if you get up in there, there's a lot of stuff that's in there. Unfortunately, there's really not an easy way to clean that out. Like I said, it's a really nice looking car. It's not in any way perfect. It's a cruiser. It does go to car shows, but it's not a baby car. So anyway, it is what it is. It cleaned it up a little bit, got the moisture out of there. We'll just try to keep it out of the rain more. Fire this thing up, get this off the rack, and we'll get the other one on here. Looks like I got a little bit of a diff leak in the rear. No big deal. We'll deal with that eventually. This thing does have electronic cutouts on it also, which is kind of fun. That way you can be loud and obnoxious when you want to be, but then, you know, an adult when you don't want to be. When you're coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning, or you're, you know, living in a nice neighborhood, you don't want to be waking up your neighbors at 7 o'clock in the morning when you head out to work. So, pretty cool little feature. Unfortunately, the motors are fried on this one, so I'm going to have to cut these off and then replace them. Probably just going to put the put a factory exhaust pipe back together on this so that it stays factory. This is a neat little thing. That is a very, very, very badly bent collector. Thanks to a bridge interchange here in Columbus. It was lowered for a very short period of time, and I went over a bridge change, and that pipe, for some particular reason, has the lowest point of the collector, you know, on the bottom. Yeah, that makes sense. It's the lowest point. But why would you weld this flange on this way? Why don't you spin it this way so that the bottom part is not pointing? Whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, it grabbed that and made it one heck of a sound when you hit that at 70 miles an hour. Bent the hell out of that. So if we were actually going to pull these headers off this car, which is a nightmare, pull these headers off this car and put this back to factory original exhaust manifolds. So it'll just be a 350 Pontiac 4-barrel with factory exhaust manifolds. Take it back to basically as original as possible. But it's still the original 350 that's in it. Original pistons, original rods, original crank, original heads. There's nothing, you know, nothing really done underneath there. It is a little louder because of the fact that I've got the cutouts open just a little bit. You'll hear that in a minute. But, you know, it's nothing crazy hot roddy. Anyway, shut up. Get it off the rack. Yep, that's less than optimal. So hard to find good help these days. I do really love that car, I'll be honest. I do really love it. So, time to move on to part number 2. The 1970 455 Pontiac Le Mans that we took on Hot Rod Power Tour. Well, one of the 2 cars we took on Hot Rod Power Tour. And if you watched the very end of the Hot Rod Power Tour, the return journey, you may understand what these 2 wires here coming out of the windshield wiper area through the door and onto the dash here with this handy dandy little 6 amp switch, what that's for. If you didn't watch that video and you don't know, give me a second, I'll show you. Yes, Jim, I did that in one try. So here we are, Pontiac 455. Yeah. All right. Now, the interesting thing is this fixing right here. So what happened was that mechanical fuel pump down yonder failed, and it was just hemorrhaging fuel directly on those there exhaust headers. So the only way we could really get this fixed, because those fuel pumps were not available anywhere around, was this. And we redneck engineered a electric fuel pump into the front of our quadrijet carburetor here. Just cut that off, put that guy in there, zip tied it onto the steering lines, and ran our power wires directly into that there switch. Bob's your uncle, it fires right up. So it drove back 140 miles on that fuel pump. Seemed like it behaved just fine, so it should just fire right back up. I gotta flip this switch. It'll siphon out of the tank. Bing, bang, boom. We're back in business. And then I'll drive it on the rack. We'll put a new mechanical fuel pump back in it. Oh man, look at that. Jim, you did some excellent wiring, my friend. Does probably need some interior cleaning though. We got quite dirty. Ugh. Oh, okay. there's a little bit of a water leak. A little. Huh. Good to know. Wonder if that's from the... Whatever. So a phrase you're going to hear from me often, and I will repeat for you once again. It's a very important phrase. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the way we're going to get this done. This was the way we were going to get this done. So, flip switch, hot, flip switch. Key on power. Come on, baby. Come back to life for me, please. How about them apples? Good job on the wiring, Jimmy. I gotta say, we earned our Roadkill badge on that one. By the way, there's no choke on this car. Quadra-jet with no choke. So you do have to keep it alive with your right foot for a little while before it'll start to idle. Give me a couple seconds and I'll get this thing pulled inside. He's here to get working on his 67 GTO so it can get ready for Good Guys too. And have all the toys out this weekend.
That thing sounds good. Now, is that really necessary?
Yes, it is. It's necessary.
You hoodlum?
All right. It is a lot easier to work on stuff where you can just get under the car instead of having to crawl around on the back in the gas station in the middle of the dark with no tools. All right, so maybe next year if we take this on Power Tour, maybe we'll bring some parts. Anyway, part of the reason I was complaining about it is this is a readily available pump. Napa makes them, Carter makes them, everybody makes them. It's for basically every Pontiac during the, 70s era. They all run the same mechanical pump, and it's just held on with 2 bolts. It's got one hard line that goes up to the carburetor. It's got a soft line and a soft line. Not rocket science. Unfortunately, it just wasn't available, so we ended up cutting in that Edelbrock electric fuel pump, which did the job. Obviously, it works. Fired the car back up. It's a 4 to 7 psi pump, so it'll handle filling, a quadra-jet without a problem. We even got on it a little bit on the way back, and it still did fine. So, whatever. Anyway, got to disconnect the one line to up to the carburetor, which we ended up cutting, but that's not a big deal. Got to disconnect that. Get the pump or the bolts off the pump. Disconnect the feed line off this and the return line off this, and get the new pump in here. The last thing we'll do is disconnect the feed line off the tank because I'm going to pour fuel all over myself again, and then get that reattached to the pump here. Bing bang boom, Bob's your uncle. Yeah, I don't have an Uncle Bob, but Bob could be my uncle. Get it done. Stop talking. This is actually a super easy process. It's held in here with 2 bolts, one on either side. It's a mechanical pump driven off the camshaft. There's a little stick that goes around, comes up and down. That's all it is. Very simple. And in just a moment of time, look, fuel pump's out. Ta-da! Isn't that hard? If only it had been available within, you know, 100 miles of where I was. So, that's out. Put the other one in. Yippee skippy. Stick goes, pump goes, fuel goes. Whatever. It is what it is. One important step I will talk about, because I have screwed this up myself more than once, is to verify your parts before throwing away your old part and or trying to install your new part. Make sure old part and new part are the same thing. So bolt pattern's the same, action's the same, arms are the same, canisters are the same. Yeah. So we just put that one in the place of this one. Hold please. Okay. Note to self. This is not stick driven. This is just cam driven. So lobe on camshaft actuates pump. Speak correctly, Austin. Speak correctly. The only real complication you can run into on this is that arm is driven by the cam. So whether or not the cam lobe is on the bottom or on the top, it can keep the arm from being able to go in. In that case, you just turn the motor over, turn the camshaft over so that the lobe is, the base circle is on the bottom. Put the pump in. Bing, bang, boom, Bob's your uncle. No big deal. Man, so much Bob's my uncle this time. I need another phrase for the rest of the day. Dark spec is 1/2 of Nugga. Piece of cake. There you go. New fuel pump is installed. Now you have 3 things here. You know, 3. It does say in the instructions to make sure you label these so you know which one's which. But they're 3 different sizes and 3 different types of connections. So if you can't figure that out, you're probably not watching this video. Okay. This is pretty easy, isn't it? Just nuts and bolts, man. Just nuts and bolts. Okay, so all we really got left is disconnect the line off of this fuel pump, the electric fuel pump, and transfer that back over to this mechanical line here, which is going to suck, but it is what it is. This is going to, the reason this is going to suck is because it's going to pour fuel all over me, because it is going to gravity feed from where it is as a low point below the tank. So the tank pressure, fuel in the tank, will force this fuel through this line and out here, because I'm going to be the low point of the line. So, you know, there's that now, which is nice. All right, that's off. Here's the fun part. Go grab some safety goggles. Yep, they were in the glove box of a car I bought.
All right.
They are now my safety goggles.
You know, those are $100 new.
Oh, I'm sure.
I almost bought a pair.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't. I only got slightly disgusting. Go me. Good job. All right. Ta-da! All right, let's tighten this sucker back up. Let's throw those on the ground, and we'll tighten this thing back up. And all we got to do is transfer the line on the top. We're just going to take a section of hose and bridge that gap that I cut so that I don't have to remake this metal line because we don't have the time. As a good enough for now fix, which will, you know, probably fix for a long time. But it'll do. We're not worried about it. Whew! Hot. There you go. No big deal. Took a little, like 1.5 inch section. Join the pipe that I cut from the pipe that I cut. That's a little piece there. No big deal. So now I'm going to get a compatriot over here to turn the key and make sure this thing doesn't hemorrhage fuel all over the place when it does finally fire back up and suck fuel forward. And then once we verify that works, we'll take all the wiring and everything out with the electrical fuel pump, and then we're done with this car. Need to do an oil change. Maybe next week. Yeah. Derek! I need your help, please! Help!
You want me to try to fire or just bump it?
If it'll fire, let it fire. It's going to take a little bit because it's going to have to suck fuel forward, but...
What's this water thing?
Yeah. It's not fuel.
Alright.
Is that concerning? That's not fuel.
Alright.
Yeah, just water.
Just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, just water. Don't worry about it. Like Pontiac. That won't do anything.
He's a mute, Clark.
Smug face. Looky, it worked. Mechanical fuel pump is mechanical fuel pumping. Give it a punch or two. Fixed it. All right.
Done, it lives. Alright,
Yeah.
sounds good.
It does sound good. And the fact that the whole car like rocks when you do it. Yeah. Here, for those of you who haven't heard this yet. Yeah, it sounds real nice. Real nice. All right, time to get the wiring out of here. Get my electrical fuel pump out. And then we can go for a test drive. I don't know why I need a test drive, because that's going to work, but whatever.
Test drives are the best part.
You always test drive, right? Always test drive. Ta-da! Be honest. 150 bucks. Jim, that got us home, man. This will actually go in the trunk, because I know this is a functional solution. Not saying that fuel pump will ever go out, but if it ever did, there's nothing I don't have that I could put this back together again. I didn't damage anything on the way out. Everything is still there. I have extra fuel hose. We could just put this thing right back in. Or, let's think on the more positive side, if I ever needed to save somebody else on the side of the road that had a similar problem, I can do this. So, this will go in the trunk. Yeah, let's fire this thing back up, make sure she moves and does what she's supposed to do, go for a little test drive driving, and then this guy's done. Just because you don't see me doing much work on this channel, getting greasy all that often doesn't mean I don't know how. Cheers. Realistically, that's a pretty easy repair. guys probably want to go with a ride along, don't you? We'll take you for a ride along. I'll go for a ride.
Well, somebody needs to man the fire extinguisher in this piece.
It's not gonna let. What's flammable in here?
Us.
Not much.
Us.
I'm not very flammable.
Your clothes are.
Yeah.
Last thing you want is two naked dudes on the side of the highway on fire.
That's valid point. So there's really no need to film this. There's really no need to go on a test drive for a fuel pump.
There's no need to do any of this. It's about wants and desires, man.
Well, I get that. I'm just saying, like it's a mechanical fuel pump. If it's pumping, it's gonna work.
Yeah, but I mean, we could all own Honda Civics too. There's no need for anything.
Yep. Fuel pump works.
It works. Wow, this thing boogies, man.
The 2-3 shift is too close. Need to change the governor and the trans.
Yeah, I can feel it. Well, you can manually shift it, right?
I can, yes. And it gets a whole lot faster if I manually shift it.
Oh,
This has also got a 2,700 RPM stall in it, so
yeah.
it comes up real far before it gets the
moves
converter
out.
fully locked up. So
Yeah.
it moves all right. I'd say my fuel pump test worked out.
Let's do another one.
Just to be safe.
Right over the hood.
And working the first time could be a fluke, right?
Right. You know,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you never know with these things.
The first time it could have maybe could have just been a fluke. We should probably test it again.
I think so.
Quality control and all that.
All right. Here we go. Nice. And throw out the anchor.
Four-wheel drum brakes. Slow with almost no vacuum. Slow down.
Right. Hey, Chevelle.
It's Thursday, so everybody's headed over to their Dutchman.
It's also Good Guys, so everybody's heading to Crown Point,
Yeah.
which is where we should be going.
Yeah.
Why don't we take your cars down there? Because mine is non-functional.
Yeah.
Man, this is a heck of a machine, dude.
Yeah. Once I get the transmission in this thing is honestly way outmatched for what it is. It's a turbo 350 that's not designed for the abuse it's gonna get from this motor.
Oh, it's a grenade with the pin pole.
Yeah, it's a B&M turbo 350, so it's a better turbo 350, but
Yeah.
it's still not designed for this sort of abuse. So.
Right. Oh man, I love how it rocks when you just get it. Do it again. You guys can't really see it, but this whole car just shifts over when he.
It sounds so good.
It does sound so good.
It sounds so good. Well, that's two of the cars. So we're doing well. Third car, the 1979 AMC AMX. What I need to do for this car is remove the hatch out of the back of the hatch that I bought for that 1979 AMC Spirit AMX, because that hatch will seal that car, so that car is nice and not getting rained in, and then that car can be brought back to life. I need to get the cooler out of this one, and I need to take off my Freedom top, I think. I don't know, do I run the weekend with that in it, or do I take that off? I feel like I should keep it on. All right, we'll keep it on. Let's not work on this car. I gotta get the cooler out, the hatch out, whatever. There's nothing else that really needs to be done with this car, so let's call it a win, shall we? There you go. 2 out of 2 instead of 3 out of 3. Anyway, as I said in the beginning of the video, we are getting ready to head to Good Guys Nationals here in Columbus, Ohio. It is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you will see this video on Friday. I will actually be at the Good Guys Nationals, provided the rains don't ruin the show. Because unfortunately, it does look like it could rain on Friday, so we'll see. Otherwise, I'll be there Saturday, I'll be there Sunday. We'll do the whole coverage that we normally do, show you tons and tons of cool cars. Hopefully there's also autocrossing as long as the weather holds out. Good Guys Nationals, if you guys have never made it to it, is a heck of a bucket list kind of thing. There are thousands of incredible cars that come out for this thing, and unlike Power Tour, this is much more of the show car thing. So you're gonna have really high-end cars that don't get a lot of mileage, but that actually get to come out for the Good Guys show, especially local guys that keep their stuff in sheds and barns and climate-controlled garages. Those things come out for the show and that, you know, be able to show off and that kind of thing. So different experience for the people that are used to the Power Tour. Less drivers, more show cars, but it's still a great time. So we'll show you guys a whole bunch of cool stuff. So anyway, that's enough for today. Thank you guys for coming along. Hope you've been enjoying this. Just a little bit of basic maintenance, a couple of things you got to deal with. I promise I will actually get to doing the exhaust on this thing. It is sitting on the rack in there. You guys have seen the video, hopefully, that we shot at DEI to get the headers wrapped and ready to go for this thing. Then we just got to get them on this and then get the exhaust made. That'll be all, I don't know. I'll promise next week again. Probably won't happen. And then we've also got to fix Carrie's GTO because apparently we haven't put a fuel line on it yet. So we got the brakes fixed, but it can't go anywhere because it doesn't have a fuel line on it. So,
Well, we want to fuel the fires and light the tires, but unfortunately we can't fuel the fires right now.
Yeah.
So let's get some fuel line on that.
So, we'll see if maybe we can fix that before you guys see this video. Rich! Anyway, thanks for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. We do appreciate everybody being here. You guys watching our stuff is what helps us pay to do this stupid stuff. So thank you very much for being here and being a fan of what it is we do. We're glad to have you. We will do our best to keep entertaining and educating as we go through the beautiful summer months here in Columbus, Ohio. We'll see you on the next one from Good Guys Nationals. I need to go clean up. We'll see you. Bye-bye.